Hey, what's going on YouTube? Kenny here. So today we're going to go over a bunch of stocks that I'm watching. We're going over kind of the trades that we're monitoring as well. So if you're new to this channel, basically Redcliffe Research is an independent research firm that deals very heavily in data analytics. So we look for signal in the noise and we trade essentially off of anomaly detection. So if there's a huge anomaly, we're going to take that trade. We're going to ride it. We've been doing very well the last month and a half. Who knows how well it's going to go? But I mean, right now we're looking at like 95% success rate on our trades. We do have one losing trade on right now. Almost had a Palantir losing trade today, but we spun that around. Roberto in the chat, he was a doubter. He had weak hands, but nope, we're good. We're good. The Palantir put came through today. Anyways, the reason I'm here is we'll talk about all those trades and stuff, but yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to our innovation lab and all the folks that are working really hard behind the scenes as well. So let me go ahead and just get into it, talk about some of these stocks. Also, if you're new here, do everything in one take. We just chill out and relax. So nothing all that serious, even though our bottom line is looking pretty all right this week. Okay, so if you go here, this is what you call the Meemberg terminal. Meembergterminal.com. And if you go to percentage change, right, and you hit this and you sort by this, you can kind of see the change in mention. So this is significant because, you know, if you're looking for anomalies or like a 2 sigma plus event, you want to look at like these drastic changes. The thing you'll find out, though, if you read any kind of white paper on stock signals or anything like that and sentiment decay, sentiment is a fickle beast, but one of the things that sentiment does is it doesn't precede the signal. Usually it's like signal, price, action, then sentiment. And so there's going to be price action involved in these for sure. But so basically 119 mentions on this stock. That's TRIT, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then also Cleveland-Cliffs, CLF, that's a steel company, 2,524, but it already had a little bit of a baseline there. So going from nothing to something, and here's going from something to more of something. So you're like, Kenny, is this a signal in itself? Do I just trade off of this? No, not necessarily, but it definitely is interesting when you look at, you know, what can be done with this. So let's kind of examine this and see where we're at. I'm just going to do a very basic technical analysis, and if you're new to this channel, you're going to see that I don't do it the same way that most people do it. We look a lot at horizontal channels because of bunch of different things, but I'm not going to explain that here. But essentially, if I'm looking at this stock chart, right, previous resistance equals future support. Everybody knows that. Every good technical analyst talks about that. And it looks like we've clearly cleared 2293, which is a massive, important kind of line. This is Cleveland-Cliffs. And I'm not going to go into the fundamental analysis. So we do that bunch of that stuff in this channel, but today we're not going to go over it. But the idea here is 2293, pretty substantial. So if you want to take a trade here tomorrow, to be quite honest with you, you have a very good trade to set up. And because the reason I say that is because 2293 is clear support at this point, right? You play tight stops, Tony, and look at this massive run. Look at this massive volume over here, right? And look at this massive run. So essentially what you're looking for is like maybe an undercut in the morning and ride. If it falls in the morning, you're done, right? So 2293 is where you take your position in the open. Actually, after hours starting to already move. Take your position now, and 2293 is like essentially your stop, right? By the time I get this video out, it might have already gone up another 100% or something like that. But yeah, there's a decent trade here. And if you're asking me what tip rank says, in terms of for Cleveland-Cliffs, let me move this over. Basically, it still has 8% upside. Obviously, it's filled that gap. There was a massive upside a couple days ago, but again, obviously, with this big move today. In terms of the actual analyst profiles, though, there's not a lot of big hitters here, and obviously, you know, if you're a Tesla fan, Gordon Johnson is saying to buy this, so maybe you don't want to buy this. But Cleveland-Cliffs, again, steel company, commodities. Might be in a super cycle, might be the next thing to ping. Can it hold its price? Who knows? but there's definitely a Biden infrastructure bill coming up. I'm going to use a lot of steel to make bridges and stuff. So have not done the full due diligence on steel and the steel industry, but we'll definitely wanted to look at this. I have been looking at this for a while. A couple research firms have been pushing it pretty hard, and so I did see this come up across my desk, but I did not kind of dig into it, and a little bit too late here. But who knows? You could definitely see it for a trade. The second one I want to talk about is TRIT, and so TRIT is a fintech company that deals with shipping. And the cool thing about this is it really matches our oil play, right? Because remember, transports lead the way, right? So we do monitor the transport business, the shipping and energy business, but even though that's a leading indicator for our oil play, this is the lead, right? So what's more leading than fintech that finances this, right? Well, shit. I mean, if this financing is going to lead, financing in its own is already a sector that we know is going to be overweight this year. So this definitely kind of helps us take another piece of it. So the chart itself, though, super choppy, super thinly traded. But again, I think we're in kind of the same picture. We're not quite at excuse me. If I'm drawing this line here, we're almost exactly at support. And then you ask me, Kenny, how much upside do you think we have? Well, I mean, realistically, at least, I think we can get to 840 from 727. I'm not taking this trade or anything. I'm just trying to show you how you can get signal in the noise. And then like another signal that you can take a look at is like, okay, volumetrically, this looks like a ton relative to this. But if you pull back and zoom out, and because this is only the 15-minute chart, so you really do want to zoom out. Let me go back to the day chart for this. Yeah, you can see there's other volume spikes. So this is not, it's significant in terms of from March of this year. But from 2021, there's been definitely more volume than that. So not super significant, only significant because it's woken up. So this is what we would call kind of an igniting candle here. So, I mean, you definitely want to watch that, but if it is an igniting candle, especially on the daily chart, what you'll see is, it'll pull back a little bit, and maybe you can get it at 727 and take it for a ride. Am I taking this trade? No. I'm just giving you ideas of how you could look at it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the trades that we are taking, right? And again, here's an interesting one. So if you go ahead and look at this, obviously 21.62% upside and $9 price target. So again, definitely can get there. And then if you look at these analysts, winner, chicken dinner, 5-star, 5-star, 4.5-star analyst. So definitely good to go. And then Randy here, man, he caught it in nick of time. He knew something was up, man. 21.62% upside only 23 days ago. This looks like some insider trading, Randy. Gonna have to audit you, buddy. Anyways, okay, so just going through some of the trades that we took and kind of auditing ourselves. Usually we do this once a month, but so a trade that we called out was super risky in the general chat. This wasn't in the stock signals chat, but we called it out at about $3 or something like that. And then it spiked, right? It spiked real good. So it spiked all the way up here to like 370 something the first time, and it finally got to $4, which was our price target. I don't know who took this trade besides me and Mike. I think Danny B took this trade as well, but essentially we got like 175% in like 2 days or something like that. We definitely got out of this trade. We let our hanger run. I let the hanger run until $4 and I got out. So at the end of the day, all told, I think I made about 185% based on all that. So did really well there. Just a trade. What was the signal? A bunch of things, a bunch of little micro indicators, and then the biggest one was obviously you have to believe in kind of the Bitcoin resurgence, and that's kind of what's happening right now. So if you believe Bitcoin will bounce and crypto will still run, definitely an interesting trade. The other trade I wanted to talk about is HYLN, only because I got a couple questions about this. Why did I pick up this trade and all that other stuff? So we definitely got a double bottom here, but the more important than the double bottom is the fact that like at $8, like how much more bad news can you get? Because you got to remember, HYLN got all the way up earlier this year during the EV run to $56, which I knew that was ludicrous. but it's actually one of the better, more like sensible EV companies. That said, you know, like even at SPAC, it was trading at $12, $10, $12. Like this is under SPAC levels. Just not realistic for it to stay down there unless it's a losing company, and it's just really not a losing company. That said, I think it's going to be under a lot of pressure right here. So, I mean, I'm not holding here. We did take our profits. We took like 75% profits here. We bought it like, I want to say we bought it around 859, right around here. Took it for this ride, let it go right here. If we would have rode it more, could have got more. Price target still up here somewhere, but no need. Got our profits and got out. So trade was good. Right now, you're in no man's land. But if you read our macro newsletter, you know that we're looking at a second wave. So it might be interesting to catch a, I don't want to say a falling knife, but catch a pullback here and then go. Especially if you say this, if you go to like the weekly chart or something like that, it's going to look like a bunch of igniting candles. So very, very strong. What else? So Michael was asking about SRNE. And the only reason I want to pull this up is because I know I traded SRNE last year. And I called this a little bit too early. But essentially, you know, Michael, if you're looking at this chart and you're really interested, I mean, we've touched $6.30, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically 6. I'll call this 7 right here, 8 times. If you buy at 616, 630, you're essentially printing money, right? Do I think it has more room for upside? I don't know. But the worst you can do is come down 30%, which is pretty bad. So I'm not a buyer here. But you know, if you would have bought at 630, you would have been printing money, and you could have got that in May, so not so long ago. So I would just wait. I would say that this is a qualified channel here. I feel like this is pretty resilient channel both ways, this top and this bottom. So I'd just go ahead and wait. I'm showing you UVIXI because we bought some. The deal here though is, you know, look at, man, just the volume. Like people are buying like crazy. People are just not sure. So there's a lot of volume. Hold on a second while I drink my beer. Okay, what's next? Disney. We picked up a Disney put at the end of the day. And you'll notice that we pick up a lot of our trades at the end of the day. Ask me why one of these days and I will tell you. But that's not this video. But essentially, we're already up like $100 or something like that if you took the trade. What do I think it's going to do? Well, in this chat, I was saying if you squint really hard, and we're squinting really hard here. Thing is, this when you have a gap up like this, right? This becomes, and then you qualify this support. So this is one, right? This looks like it's going to create head and shoulders, right? And you know that we don't like to do Fugazi magic around here, but I'll tell you what. Here's 2 things. Like one, if you still want to talk horizontal channels, this is a qualified horizontal channel. This is one for sure because 1 time, 2 times, 2 touches, 3 touches, right? So the next touch should be around here, right? That's like your your head and shoulders. Here's the thing, though, right? Even if you don't say that and you say, look, hey, let's look at these horizontal channels, this one, like which I built a while ago. I mean, this is noise, right? And look, this would be noise, but there's nothing under here. So this is really strong support. I do think I'm very long, very, very bullish on Disney long-term, and it's in my long-term no-look portfolio. But as far as my trading portfolio or my trading account, definitely looking for it to recede back to about 168. I'm not going to hold it that long. Probably just sell it tomorrow off of a flash kind of pullback in the open, hopefully. But if not, that's fine too. We have time to wait on that trade. But that's what we're doing for that trade. And then I drew this only because Richard's giving me a hard time. I was like, if you like triangles, I'll put a triangle here. And as you can see, you're butting up against resistance too. So like 3, 4 technical indicators all lining up. And also the biggest one, though, is like the volume decrease here, which a lot of stocks showed that volume decrease. So not sure if there's any money coming in or if everybody's kind of sidelined, everybody's kind of hesitant. We do have a quadruple witchening coming up, which is why we bought some UVIXI. So that's kind of where we're at on Disney. Ford, we're very, very bullish on Ford. And the reason why is because they have a lot of things lining up. Also, I told Marcus to wink twice if it's not a good idea to buy Ford, and he didn't wink. So we're buying Ford. The chart that I'm looking for, and you're like, oh my gosh, after a run like that, Kenny, yeah, you know that we're very bearish on runs like this. Usually we get really mad at this kind of stuff. But if you looked at the closest charts that you want to really inspect is the EV run charts of last year, and you'll notice that if you even like wanted to get a better entry point, this is like really the best you're going to get. And then essentially looking for another big move to the upside. So it depends on what the market's going to do. Need some market alignment here, need some market breadth to kind of come help us out. But essentially what we're doing here is, if we fail off of here, definitely going to buy again down here and kind of hold for the long haul. But definitely bullish from here. I don't know if this is the bottom from here, but I suspect that we will get a little flash bounce here. It hasn't happened yet, but next couple of days, three days maybe, I think we can definitely see it happen. I wanted to try to get in there earlier and not miss this next big move to the upside, though. So that's what we're looking at, Ford. And again, obviously, this is a ridiculous amount of volume. So we just need to cool off, and maybe even if it goes sideways for a while, that's fine. I could see it going down to 1456, but I don't know. I'm feeling really bullish about this one. And if you read a macro newsletter, you know that we were looking at a second wave. And so I think it's setting up. Deutsche Bank, some interesting news came out like last month, but nothing that's really kind of prevented the stock from moving up higher. So, we're watching this one. We did get a little bit of a pullback here. Obviously very profitable up until today. Today we made a little bit of a loss here. And so we're negative now, looking for a bounce. Hopefully financials are still very strong this year, and the balance sheet and the fundamentals that we were looking at, according to just our little research, still line up. So still liking where we're at. Could it bounce at 1405? Yes. If it breaks 1405, the trade is busted and we're done. We're going to just let it go there. But we'll see what happens. But 1405 is key target price there. RQ, you all know we're short. We did a big video on it. There's a bunch of little interesting reasons why we are short. Really, it's to make sure that we're short the right stocks and protect ourselves from getting blown out, essentially. But right now we're down a little bit, but I think it'll work out. 82.97 is a big resistance for this stock, for this ETF, and so if it can break this, then I'd be impressed. But I don't see it breaking it. If it does break it, the trade will likely need to be revisited. The next logical support or resistance would be up here. I won't even say, this one too, but I wouldn't hold that long. I'd hold to about 86.95 and then let her go. But we have a lot of time on this one because we put a lot of time on this one because we know that when it comes to fighting off a whole entire sector, it takes time. So fighting this fight right now. We're in the boxing ring. We're taking it easy. Palantir, we're looking for a little bit of flash pullback. We put a put in. Definitely profitable here. We got pushed around today, though, for damn sure. Go to the 15-minute real quick. Look at how choppy this is. It's like look at this. It's like, and then today, even microaggression-wise, we did go in here and it did the same dang thing here. Like, cannot pick its mind, right? Look at that. Basically, that's what it did. But definitely cooling off today. Wow, looks like it bottomed out here. Okay, if that's right, then we're doing really, really well. We put in our put over here. So, I think we're at 24.50 is our strike price. So, looking real good. Should bleed off a little bit tomorrow. Not getting greedy. If it hits 23 anything, probably looking to sell, probably sell half and looking to sell more if it gets down. But, I don't think it'll do that. Hopefully you look at, with Palantir, it's always really tricky because a flush in the open, it'll do a strong bounce and people will come in. But it had so little volume today and it was fighting for its life all day. And so I do think, it held for a little bit, but it was definitely a bull trap here. But I think even if it does sell off, I don't know that it will. But, even if it gets down to 23.50 or something like that, I think it flash bounces. So we're definitely looking for a flush in the beginning and then sell on open. But if not, if it kind of whittles way down, definitely willing to hold. But looking for an exit like right away. Not because I don't not because I think it's worth so much or anything like that, but you know, the Redditors have gotten to it, and a lot of folks are shilling it right now. And to be honest, you know, 25 is a very significant mental barrier. It's also a place that a lot of people are in line buying and selling it. But I mean, I don't usually do trend lines, but when trend lines work, they work. And this is one of those trend lines where if we're busted through this one, we're going to go for a ride. And it looks like we've definitely busted through because we've held for so damn long. Like, you could have bought a couple weeks back, I mean, right here off of this one, or off of this one would be your first cue, because you would have gotten, you would have built, well, you would have built out trend. If you're a trend line, I don't do trend lines. This is why I don't. But if you do trend lines, you would have built off of this, right? You would have built off of this, and this would be the break actually here. So it kind of makes sense, even if I was using that. So maybe that's what people are seeing. I don't use that. I have other indicators that I'm using. But the biggest one is like the rejection here at 25, which makes so much sense because that's been a critical key spot for Palantir for so many times. But yeah, this price action here, you could tell, just bounce, bounce, bounce. I mean, like, look, if you would have bought in, well, you wouldn't have bought in here. You would have hit the bounce. You probably would have bought here. Like, if you were really, yeah, you would have bought here. That would have been a signal. You could have got 14%. So, I mean, interesting signal. But I mean, I don't play trend lines, but you can. When they work, they work. So, I mean, this clearly worked. So, wouldn't blame anybody for using a trend line on this one. Okay, what else? Well, really, that is it. And so, you know, hopefully you like this video. This is the kind of videos we make once in a while. Usually we like to do due diligence and do fundamental and technical analysis and do signal stuff because, just because. All right, yeah, if you like this kind of thing, we do have a free micro newsletter. You can sign up for it below. It comes out every month, early in the month. And yeah, join our community. It's pretty cool, man. Yep. All right, thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.